We continue our missing series tonight with the disappearance of Thomas Howe. He goes by Tommy. The 24-year-old man seemingly vanishing in broad daylight after he was involved in a car crash just north of Chicago. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, the evidence is thin. The questions are mounting, and Tommy's friends and family are desperate to try and bring Tommy home. Kelly Beeson has traveled to the hometown of Tommy, Antioch, Illinois, and joins us live tonight. Kelly, it sounds like even police are calling this case highly unusual. It's a mystery.
It truly is, Marnie. We spoke with the chief of police here at the Antioch Police Department, who says in his 23-year career in law enforcement, he has never come across a case like this. This is a story that has rocked the community of Antioch, Illinois, and has frustrated not only law enforcement, but loved ones who continue to search for new leads.
It's a nightmare. Every morning, we wake up, and for about 10 seconds you think, oh, I'm glad that nightmare's over. And then it hits us.
A recent college graduate, loving brother and son.
He is kind, he's warm, he just, he's everybody's friend.
He was just going about the normal life of an average 24-year-old young man.
24-year-old Tommy Howe had a new job, an apartment with friends in downtown Chicago, and a party to attend January 22nd. But it was after he was running errands that a mystery begins to unfold. It started with a car crash on the highway in broad daylight in the northern suburbs of Chicago.
He was traveling westbound 94. He was in one of the center two lanes. For whatever reason, he veered to the right and struck the guardrail. From that point, veered back to the left, struck another vehicle, and both those vehicles came to a stop in the center median almost immediately.
Police say other people involved in the collision were not hurt. Witnesses from the scene tell authorities Tommy pulled over to the median and got out of his car, heading for a nearby forest preserve.
We're baffled at this point, and we truly believe that he was completely disoriented.
Tom Howe and Mary Margaret are Tommy's parents. They say their son was planning to meet family for lunch that day. When he was delayed, they became concerned and checked his location through his cell phone, the phone returning a signal from a suburban tow yard.
But from there, the trail went cold.
The pair arrive at the location to find the vehicle Tommy was driving smashed.
And at this point, we were in a panic. We had no idea where he was. Was he hurt? Because the vehicle is destroyed.
The damage that was done just told us, first of all, we couldn't believe he got out. All of the airbags had deployed, so, we thought there was some injury.
As a parent, it was just absolutely heart-wrenching.
The couple begins scouring the area near the crash site with no answers.
He is smart. The first thing, that comes to my mind is that he can think through any situation.
Law enforcement and hundreds of volunteers join the search. Days later, police find Tommy's work cell phone in a forest preserve next to the highway, but not a shred of other evidence providing leads.
Unfortunately, people look at their cell phones when they're driving, but so far the investigation doesn't indicate that that was the case. So right now, the actual cause of the accident is unexplainable.
Tommy's parents say their son had spent the holidays with family in the suburbs, expressing he had been feeling increasing levels of stress.
It's hard to graduate and start a new career and kind of know what you're doing anyway to begin with.
Earlier in the day of his disappearance, he sought help from a counselor to deal with feelings of anxiousness.
So many young people their age are struggling.
Be it the effects of COVID, be it, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
His parents contend Tommy was in no way a threat to himself or to others. And so far, law enforcement has no answers as to what led up to the crash.
Based on our analysis investigation, there was no indications leading up to the crash for anybody to be concerned about Tommy's well-being.
We really think that he was probably hit his head, something just kind of snapped.
Something interfered in his life, and he made the decision to walk away and
said, I've got to flee. I've got to get away. I've got to just remove myself from this situation.
That really is the million-dollar question at this point as to why. It's very unusual that an individual is involved in a collision and essentially disappears without a trace.
For him to walk away from an accident, that is not his personality at all. He's got a heart of gold.
Now, nearly 2 weeks after the crash, Tommy's parents share a simple message for their son.
Please know that you are not in trouble by any means. Anyone will graciously greet you and get you home to us. It's all really, really okay.
The chief of police here tonight, Marnie, saying he has 5 children of his own, and he is treating this investigation like Tommy is one of his children.
So many people care about Tommy. They want him home tonight. Kelly, tell me more about the crash. Anything you learned about the extent of damage? His parents seem to think that the car was pretty banged up.
They did. That's what they told us. Investigators haven't been able to release photos of the vehicle, but what we gleaned from police and from Tommy's parents is that the car was hit on both sides and the front, and that it's very possible that Tommy may have sustained some serious injury. However, inside of the car, there's no blood or hair to indicate the severity or where those injuries may have happened, Marnie.
Well, the other thing, Kelly, I mean, anytime there's an accident, certainly if it has this much damage, you exchange information with the other people on the scene. Police will usually show up if somebody is hurt. You've got an ambulance. What did the people there that day say about Tommy, and did they talk to him? Did he say anything?
Well, here's what we learned from police. They tell us that the woman that Tommy collided with was a mother who had children in her car. Both vehicles pulled over to the median, and the woman was checking on her children to ensure that they were okay. And in that time, allegedly, Tommy left the scene. Now, there was another witness who said he did see somebody who fit the description of Tommy walk into the direction of the forest preserve, but Tommy and the woman in the other vehicle never had any interaction, according to law enforcement.
You mentioned the preserve and that authorities did search that area. How extensive were those efforts? Did they bring dogs out?
They did bring dogs out, Marnie. Law enforcement officials and hundreds of volunteers. The chief here says it could have been even over 1,000 volunteers scouring that area, looking for any clues. And we've had some pretty harsh weather in between Tommy's disappearance and today. And so snow, ice, and some tricky terrain have posed challenges to this search since then.
And Kelly, I think we're all hoping if he wandered away, he's going to show up somewhere. He just got disoriented. Have there been any sightings of Tommy, any leads that police have said have been fruitful or helpful?
You know, there have been multiple sightings of Tommy reported to police, and all of them have turned out to be dead ends. Now, police say that's not unusual, especially for this case in particular, because Tommy is a fairly average height and weight for a young man his age.
Well, he is loved tonight and missed, and let's hope that shedding some light on his story helps bring him home. Kelly, thank you. If you have any information on the disappearance of Tommy Howe, contact the Antioch Police Department by calling the number there on your screen. And if you have a case you think that we should be looking into, go to newsnationnow.com/missing and submit a case of a loved one that you care about. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.